Testosterone, total and free. Total testosterone measures bound and unbound hormone in your blood. Free testosterone is what's actually available for muscle building, recovery, and performance. Normal range is 300 to 1,000 nanograms per deciliter total, but optimal for training is 600 to 900 nanograms per deciliter. Anything below 400 and you'll struggle building muscle regardless of training intensity. The Rock has admitted to TRT because his natural production tanked from decades of intense training. Free testosterone under 10 picograms per milliliter means poor recovery, low libido, and difficulty adding lean mass. Get tested in the morning when levels peak. If you're chronically low, fix sleep, reduce stress, increase dietary fats, and consider zinc supplementation before jumping to TRT. Estradiol, the overlooked hormone. Men need estrogen for bone density, libido, and joint health. But too much causes water retention, fat gain, and gynecomastia. Optimal range is 20 to 30 picograms per milliliter. Above 40 and you're holding excess water that makes you look soft despite low body fat. Below 15 and your joints ache, libido tanks, and mood crashes. Bodybuilders using aromatase inhibitors often crash estrogen too low and feel terrible. If estrogen is high naturally, it usually indicates excess body fat converting testosterone to estrogen through aromatization. Lose fat, estrogen normalizes. Hemoglobin and hematocrit. Oxygen carrying capacity. Hemoglobin measures oxygen-carrying protein in red blood cells. Hematocrit is the percentage of blood volume occupied by red blood cells. Normal hemoglobin is 13.5 to 17.5 grams per deciliter for men, 12 to 15.5 for women. Higher values within range mean better oxygen delivery to working muscles, crucial for endurance and recovery. Low hemoglobin indicates anemia, causing fatigue and terrible training performance. Athletes training at altitude naturally increase these markers. Dangerously high hematocrit above 54% thickens blood and increases stroke risk, common in steroid users or EPO abusers. Thyroid panel. TSH, T3, T4. Your thyroid controls metabolism, energy production, and body temperature regulation. TSH, thyroid-stimulating hormone, should be 0.5 to 2.5 milli-international units per liter. Higher TSH means your thyroid is underactive and struggling, causing weight gain, fatigue, and inability to lose fat despite dieting. Free T3 and T4 measure actual thyroid hormones. Low T3 specifically destroys fat loss progress because it's the active thyroid hormone. Chronic dieting, especially with low carbs, tanks T3 production. Serena Williams has discussed managing thyroid issues while competing at elite levels. If TSH is above 3.0, investigate further even if your doctor says it's normal. Vitamin D, the anabolic hormone. Vitamin D is technically a hormone affecting testosterone production, immune function, and bone health. Optimal range for athletes is 40 to 60 nanograms per milliliter, not the pathetic 20 to 30 nanograms per milliliter most labs list as normal. Below 30 and you're compromising recovery, strength gains, and injury resilience. LeBron James reportedly keeps his vitamin D levels optimized year-round for performance. Supplement 4,000 to 6,000 IU daily if deficient, which most people living above the 35th parallel are during winter months. Take it with fatty meals for absorption. If you're serious about optimizing performance, hit subscribe for more evidence-based breakdowns. Iron and ferritin. Energy production. Serum iron measures circulating iron, but ferritin shows your iron storage levels. Low ferritin under 30 nanograms per milliliter causes crushing fatigue even if iron appears normal. Women training intensely are especially prone to iron deficiency from menstruation combined with training stress. Optimal ferritin for athletes is 50 to 100 nanograms per milliliter. Too high indicates inflammation or potential hemochromatosis. Distance runners and endurance athletes often develop foot strike hemolysis, where red blood cells rupture from repetitive impact, depleting iron stores. Supplement with iron bisglycinate if deficient, never cheap ferrous sulfate that causes constipation. Lipid panel. Beyond basic cholesterol. Total cholesterol matters less than the breakdown. HDL, good cholesterol, should be above 40 milligrams per deciliter, ideally 60 plus. Low HDL increases cardiovascular risk regardless of total cholesterol. LDL, bad cholesterol, optimal is under 100 milligrams per deciliter, but LDL particle size matters more than total LDL. Small, dense LDL particles are atherogenic and dangerous. Large, fluffy LDL particles are relatively benign. Advanced lipid panels measure this. Triglycerides should be under 100 milligrams per deciliter. High triglycerides above 150 indicate insulin resistance and excess carb consumption relative to activity level. Fasting glucose and insulin. Fasting glucose measures blood sugar after 8 to 12-hour fast. Optimal is 70 to 85 milligrams per deciliter, not the normal range up to 100. Consistently above 90 indicates developing insulin resistance. Fasting insulin is even more important, but rarely tested. Optimal is under 5 MIU per liter. Above 10 means you're insulin resistant, even if glucose looks normal. This destroys body composition progress because elevated insulin blocks fat oxidation. J.J. Watt has discussed monitoring blood sugar for performance optimization. If both markers are elevated, cut refined carbs immediately and increase protein and fiber. HbA1c, 3-month glucose average. Hemoglobin A1c shows average blood sugar over the past 90 days. Optimal for athletes is 4.8 to 5.2%. Above 5.7% is prediabetic. This marker reveals if your daily glucose control is actually good or if you're spiking constantly between meals. Even if fasting glucose looks fine, elevated HbA1c means you're riding a blood sugar roller coaster throughout the day. This causes energy crashes, hunger fluctuations, and impaired recovery. Clean up meal timing and composition if this is elevated. C-reactive protein, inflammation marker. CRP measures systemic inflammation. Optimal is under 1.0 milligrams per liter. Between 1 and 3 indicates moderate inflammation. Above 3 means significant inflammation that impairs recovery and increases injury risk. Chronic high CRP suggests overtraining, poor diet quality, inadequate sleep, or underlying health issues. Tom Brady obsesses over keeping inflammation markers low through diet and recovery protocols. High CRP, despite good training and nutrition, warrants investigating gut health, food sensitivities, or chronic infections. Creatine kinase, muscle damage indicator. CK measures muscle breakdown. Normal range is 40 to 300 U per liter, but athletes training intensely often hit 500 to 1,000 after hard sessions. Above 1,000 consistently suggests inadequate recovery between workouts. Extremely high levels above 5,000 indicate rhabdomyolysis, a dangerous condition where muscle tissue breaks down rapidly and can damage kidneys. If CK is chronically elevated, you're training beyond your recovery capacity. Back off volume or intensity, increase rest days, and prioritize sleep. Liver enzymes, ALT and AST. These enzymes indicate liver stress or damage. Normal ALT is 7 to 56 U per liter. AST is 10 to 40 U per liter. Mildly elevated levels in athletes can result from intense training, causing temporary muscle damage. But consistently high values above 80 suggest liver issues from supplements, medications, alcohol, or metabolic problems. Many pre-workout supplements and fat burners stress the liver. If enzymes are elevated, stop all non-essential supplements immediately and retest in 4 to 6 weeks. Cortisol, the stress hormone. Morning cortisol should be 10 to 20 micrograms per deciliter. Low morning cortisol indicates adrenal fatigue or HPA axis dysfunction from chronic stress or overtraining. High cortisol throughout the day breaks down muscle tissue, promotes fat storage around the midsection, and ruins sleep quality. If you're training hard but cortisol is chronically elevated, you're in a catabolic state regardless of nutrition or programming. Reduce training volume, improve sleep, and manage life stress. Magnesium and zinc, essential minerals. Serum magnesium, normal range is 1.7 to 2.2 milligrams per deciliter, but this doesn't reflect intracellular stores. Most athletes are magnesium deficient from sweat losses. Symptoms include muscle cramps, poor sleep, and anxiety. Supplement 400 to 600 milligrams magnesium glycinate daily. Zinc optimal range is 80 to 120 micrograms per deciliter. Below 80 impairs testosterone production, immune function, and protein synthesis. Supplement 30 to 50 milligrams daily if deficient, especially if you sweat heavily during training. Subscribe now for more performance optimization strategies backed by actual science. Prolactin, the recovery killer. Prolactin above 15 nanograms per milliliter in men suppresses testosterone and causes low libido, difficulty building muscle, and potential gynecomastia. High prolactin can result from certain medications, pituitary tumors, or excessive stress. If elevated without explanation, investigate further with an endocrinologist. Bringing prolactin back to normal range restores testosterone function and training progress. Homocysteine, cardiovascular risk. This amino acid byproduct should be under 10 micromoles per liter. Elevated levels above 15 increase cardiovascular disease risk and indicate B vitamin deficiencies, particularly folate, B6, and B12. Supplementing methylated B vitamins brings homocysteine down quickly. This marker is especially important for athletes using high-protein diets long-term. Why regular testing matters. You can't optimize what you don't measure. Get comprehensive blood work every 6 to 12 months minimum, more frequently if making significant training or diet changes. Track trends over time rather than obsessing over single values. Blood work reveals what's limiting your progress before symptoms become obvious. Most doctors only test when problems arise. Elite athletes test proactively to maintain peak performance. The difference between good and great is often found in these markers, not just training harder.